All I really want is I want the person who heads up the Office of Government Ethics to be ethical. And right now, I don't see that. I see him taking positions that he has not even looked at. He seems to be in the spin room from the Democratic side of the aisle.
Joining me now is that person, Walter Shaub, now the outgoing director of the Office of Government Ethics, and thanks for making time. Let me start with this because I think it's important to sort of lay this down. What is your job? What are you tasked with doing at OGE?
Well, hi, Chris. It's nice to be here. The Office of Government Ethics is the prevention mechanism for the federal government. We work with the administration. We work with not only presidential appointees, but also rank and file employees in the federal government. We help them disclose their financial interests and resolve conflicts of interest. So we're there to solve problems in advance, and that's what I've been doing under 3 presidents now, and I've really enjoyed that job.
So you've done it under 3 presidents. Now, there's a kind of guardrail function you're playing, right? I mean, my understanding is that this grows out of the after effects of Watergate. And the idea is you guys are there because there are criminal statutes. There are criminal conflict of interest laws that people might violate in the federal government. And you're there to kind of protect them from doing that, essentially.
That's right. We're, as I said, we're the prevention mechanism, so we're really helping to set people 2 steps back from the line so that they don't commit inadvertent violations, hopefully only inadvertent, because these are extremely complicated laws. They're nuanced and frankly, they're always passed after the last crisis, so they don't always fit together very well. And our job, in many cases, is to serve as the translator of them and also to help find ways to make them work together. And we have a really big education function to help try to ensure that federal employees or political appointees understand the rules. And we often work very closely with them to prevent those kinds of problems.
So you said you served under 3 presidents. How different was this administration, in your experience, than the other 2?
Well, I have only got really good things to say about the ethics program that President Bush ran and the ethics program that President Obama ran. We got off to kind of a good start initially with this administration because he had picked an excellent transition team, and we worked with other service provider agencies and an outside nonprofit group to bring the 2 campaigns' transition teams together and work with them and help make sure they were ready for the transition. And I have to say I had great respect for the people on both of those teams. The morning after the election, I sent a congratulations email to the winning team, and I sincerely told them I was really looking forward to working with them. I got a very nice message back from them saying that they'd felt supported by OGE and were looking forward to getting down to the task at hand. And then they were replaced with our current counsel to the president. And since then, I'd say the ethics program has been a very serious disappointment in the White House.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the ethics program, and I have to back up a little to explain, the ethics program is a compliance-based program in many ways in the sense that we have very basic, bare bones criminal laws, civil laws, and administrative regulations that say, here's the absolute minimum you're going to do. But that's just the skeleton, and the meat of the program has been the ethical traditions and norms of the program that's evolved over 40 years. And we're able to say, in most cases, that we have the gold standard of ethics programs internationally, and that federal employees are not just merely not criminals, and that presidential appointees are not merely avoiding violating laws, but they go further and comply with those traditions. An example is that with presidential nominees, the primary criminal conflict of interest statute merely says you can't participate in something where you have a conflict of interest. So, Chris, you could come into government and keep all of your conflicting financial interests and not run afoul of that law if you were willing to put your feet up on your desk and read the newspaper all day long and not do your job.
Right.
But that's unworkable, and so we take a risk management approach where we have people divest things, we set up other mechanisms to prevent conflicts of interest, and we set them 2 steps back from the line. But the consistent approach that I'm running into in dealing with this counsel's office has been, if it's not illegal, we're going to do it. And if there's an argument that it's probably not illegal, we're going to do it. And so that has really undermined the program that's existed for 4 decades.
So I want to press on that. So what I'm hearing from you is they have taken an aggressive posture in terms of where they can set up with respect to the line on conflicts, particularly. And this is a really important question. Your job is to certify that there's no conflicts. And I want you to give me this. Can you definitively say, sitting here today, that everyone in that White House is, including the president, free of conflicts of interest?
Well, no. We've received very little information about what the individuals in the White House do on a day-to-day basis for a living. They've negotiated ethics agreements with them, and they've refused to even let the Office of Government Ethics so much as see those ethics agreements. And when we worked on the financial disclosure reports, we ask for information, and it's like pulling teeth. Weeks go by before we get answers in many cases. And after I issued a data call for all of the waivers and authorizations that had been issued at the end of April, they refused for over a month to answer any questions from my staff as to whether any individuals had received waivers, because they were still deciding whether they were going to comply with that data call.
I want to be just really clear here, because there are criminal conflict statutes. So I just want to know if, there are people who retained holdings like Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump and others, and who are mandated by law to recuse themselves from any involvement in things with which they may have a conflict. So my question here is, can you definitively state that they have done that they have adhered to the law and recused themselves in places where they are criminally exposed if they don't?
Well, Chris, to be fair, I have to rework that question a little bit, and I'm not trying to dodge, but it's a little more nuanced than that. I'd like to say that I don't have any basis for believing that there are any specific violations. Now, I don't have enough information to be able to say definitively there could not possibly be any, but I feel like the bigger concern, and this is important, is that because this is a risk management program, it's become clear that they have a much higher tolerance for risk than we do. For instance, we have a lot more control over presidential nominees. They have to get our sign-off before they can get a hearing and come into government. White House appointees are in government long before we get their financial disclosure reports, and we're almost doing a post-mortem to see if there was a conflict of interest, where with nominees, we work to prevent them in advance. And so adopting a higher level of risk is inconsistent with how we've run this program, because people have been asking me, is there definitely a violation, or can you definitively say there's no violation? Well, if we're the prevention mechanism, once a violation has happened, we've already failed. And so it's incumbent upon a director of the Office of Government Ethics or my staff as a whole to object before we reach that point, because we're supposed to be running around preventing that from happening.
All right, Walter Shaub, thanks for making time tonight.
Thanks, Chris.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.